This is Border Battle with King and CJ. With King.
You want to go get a hot dog at halftime? Well, guess what? You can also take the under in the second half of 25. You know what I mean?
And CJ.
You can win Super Bowls right now with me and Grandpa Brady over here. Let's do it that way.
Presented by the fine students and faculty of the Oklahoma State University School of Media and Strategic Communications in beautiful Paul Miller Building. Broadcast live on KXZY OSU Student Radio. And now, live from Studio 318, it's Border Battle with Jordan the Great King and CJ the Viking Notch.
Welcome back into Studio 318 here in the Paul Miller Journalism Building. Thank you, Landon, for that great intro per usual. You're listening to the Border Battle with King and CJ. I'm King, he's CJ, joined today by Poke Report reporter, O State TV reporter, the long list of accolades, as well as...
Maybe we could add, OSU Stadium Insider now. I mean,
it's a long list.
Adding.
Yeah, it's a long list of accolades for Mr. Brian Shrull. Brian, thank you for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Of course, this is Brian's second time on the show. I know he's counting. I don't know if anyone else is.
I am counting.
But thanks to him for joining us. We're going to talk about the new home for OSU baseball, get an update on Cowgirl soccer as well. You're listening on OSU Student Radio, KXCY, Suddenlink Channel 112, YouTube Live, Border Battle On Demand, Facebook.com/Border Battle Show. Shared everything over there. Our YouTube channel, obviously, we have the full Boynton interview from Wednesday. We'll have Brian's full interview up there afterwards. So you can go over there, check out past full shows, check out just interviews if you just want to watch the interviews. I know that Boynton one was a popular one, so head over there and you can do that. So Brian, you were at busy day yesterday for you. What came first? Was it the soccer tour first and then the baseball?
No, it was the baseball press conference. It was about 50 minutes long. Holder, Josh Holliday, and then Jim Hasenbeck, the architect for the Oklahoma State Baseball Stadium. That's the name they're calling it right now. They don't have a name, no donor name or anything. Holder had said that the donors they have so far are wanting to remain anonymous. So they're just going with Oklahoma State Baseball Stadium. So that announcement came, questions were asked, a bunch of media and whole baseball team was there. They all got the biggest kick I saw them. They all started like smiling, laughing around at each other when they mentioned how big the locker room was going to be. 26,000 square feet.
Wow.
Locker room. So they're pretty happy about that. But yeah, that came first, and then some of us went over to the construction of the soccer stadium, got the tour of that, got to see how the progress is coming, got to talk to Coach Colin Carmichael, kind of about what he's excited for and stuff. So, yeah, busy day.
Yeah, so we'll start with the baseball. We'll get to soccer in a second and talk about what all of this construction means for the university, because the athletic department, there are some programs other than football that deserved some updates, and I think these are two very worthy programs. So we're going to hear from a couple of the people. We got some some audio clips for us. So we're going to first hear from Jim Hasenbeck on a unique feature, which is the glass batter's eye in the new stadium.
This ballpark has a glass batter's eye, which is like no other. It's a dark piece of glass, but you can still see through it. It'll allow people to actually watch a ball game from straight behind the pitching mound, and that is different than any other place you'll be.
Well, all right. Well, we're experiencing some audio technical difficulties upstairs. We're gonna take a quick break, see if we can get that figured out, and we'll be right back. You're listening to the Border Battle with King and CJ, OSU Student Radio, KXCY.
Hi, I'm Gina Noble, and I'm the mayor of Stillwater, Oklahoma. Stillwater, Oklahoma is anything but still. We are a vibrant community, and we are conveniently located near Oklahoma City, Tulsa, and Wichita, Kansas. We're the home of the Oklahoma State Cowboys, and we serve as the cultural, economic, and athletic hub for North Central Oklahoma. In fact, several Quality of Life magazines have recognized Stillwater as one of the nation's 100 top places to live and one of the best places to golf. Established in the land run in 1889, Stillwater is a safe, vibrant community. It boasts a great educational system from K through 12, all the way up to our world-class university, Oklahoma State University. We have an exceptional downtown with a strong entrepreneurial spirit, numerous city parks and trails, and our medical resources are second to none. Stillwater is a wonderful place to begin your career, to start a business, to raise a family, or to retire. We invite you to visit Stillwater because we are anything but still.
Think you're not involved in your community? Think again. Spending your money with local businesses is more than an economic choice. It's a way you can have a say in the look and feel of your hometown. This spring, I invite you to shop in downtown Stillwater. Downtown Stillwater is home to locally owned shops, boutiques, eateries, and dependable professionals that you can trust. Find the perfect gift for your graduate, have a delicious meal with mom, and to enjoy great spring savings. By creating a demand for local goods and services, you can ensure a place for the local businesses that help give our community character and keep it unique. On behalf of Downtown Stillwater, thank you for shopping local.
In building. You're listening to the Border Battle with King and CJ on OSU Student Radio KXCY. Still working on that, but regardless of if we hear it from the source or not, you were there, Brian, so you can give us the lowdown here. And we thank all of you for sticking around through the commercial. We appreciate that. But this the architect Jim Hassenbank, you talked about him. Glass batter's eye. I kind of heard about that right before we went to break there. Something that's kind of unique for the day and age of college baseball is we're going to have fans behind this glass batter's eye, right behind the pitcher, which is a unique angle.
Right. So, like, I played baseball growing up, and so I know what it looks like from the pitcher's mound. But most people don't. You don't get to stand in center field and look right. You see the pitcher and then the batter right in front of you. So it's a very unique thing. I can't think of any major league park that has that. I don't know of any college park that has that either. Because, I mean, you're just standing there in the outfield. It's like you're in the outfield. The center fielder is right in front of you, and then you got the pitcher and then the batter and the catcher and ump. So it's a very, like, unique feel and unique view for seeing baseball. And it kind of goes hand in hand with this design of the 360-degree concourse. So, like, from any point in the stadium, you can walk around and you can see the action. There's nothing in your way. You're not blocked by walls, by seats, or whatever. You can walk around the whole stadium and be able to see the field of play at any point. So, two very, like, unique and special things for fans.
Yeah, that was kind of a cool thing. I'll get Chris's input on here real quick. Like, the glass batters, like the concept behind it is that you have it's kind of like a double-sided thing to where it doesn't affect the hitter's viewpoint of the ball, That's why you have those raised center field, like currently in the Cowboy baseball stadium. That's why you have the raised center field, so they aren't trying to pick it out in the trees. So I think this is a really cool concept to add, some more interaction with the fans, right?
Yeah, that's just what I was going to ask, especially for like a kid. Obviously as an adult, you're going to love it, and a student, but these kids growing up maybe want to play, be able to play in the stadium someday. That's like a huge benefactor to be like, oh, I can see, like you said, it's the first probably of its kind, that I know of off the top of my head. So that's really cool. But, kind of going off, are they playing kind of like a student section thing as well with this stadium, the new one?
Yeah, so they're like, the athletic department, especially with this and soccer, are trying to do a thing where they are emphasizing student interaction. So the baseball stadium will have down the third base line, they will have a student section. And then above that, they'll have like a special concession area and raised seating and tables and stuff, so that it encourages students to come out, have fun. They were talking about it last night or yesterday at the press conference. They want students to like really be into the game and like really be having fun and whatnot. And so having their own section, kind of, it's just like basketball or like football. You're around students, so you get more excited, and that's what they're hoping with baseball.
Yeah, it's something interesting. Let me ask you this then, Brian. As far as this is a little more of an opinion question, do you think it's going to help? Because baseball over the years, when you talk about student sports to go support, it's up there as far as the third tier, because you kind of have football, and then you have men's basketball and wrestling. Where does is this going to make a huge difference, do you think?
Well, I think a new stadium in general will make a big difference. But just like anything, team success is gonna bring people in or not. So a new stadium will get people to come. They'll get to enjoy the different amenities of the stadium, everything about it. And then if the team starts to win and they keep on winning, keep that winning ways, then, they're going to stay. But I think the stadium will be a big factor in getting a lot of people. And if you go to Alley P today, it's going to be a hard time trying to park. There's a separate parking lot just for this baseball stadium, 600 plus spots. So that's going to help a lot.
That is huge, because parking right now is a nightmare. I live in Bennett Hall, which is right next to that. It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare for baseball and softball alike to that point.
A couple questions quick. With Alley P, and maybe both know this or not, are they planning on actually tearing down Alley P? Have they said or no?
So they have not said. They have not decided what they want to do with it. Holiday was asked if he thinks it should be, and he was like, it's old, but like it held a special place in his heart. So they don't know what they'll do. They could tear it down, turn it into a parking garage. They could tear it down. There's a lot of stuff you could do with it. because a baseball field is a big area of land, so. But they have not made a decision.
Well, and that's why I was quickly thinking of that. It was because parking, like Jordan was saying, for Bennett Hall, it's like, if it's just going to sit there in a sense, depending on if it's just going to sit there, then you'd hope they'd make a parking, unless they're going to use it for something else. Great, good for them. But, if not, you would think. But I also want to quick ask, with this alcohol thing, is this something that's still going to go on with the new stadium?
Well,
Do you know?
I'm pretty sure this alcohol thing was all kind of temporary to begin with, so we don't even know if it'll be around in 2020, correct?
Correct. They did not talk about this with the baseball. However, Coach Carmichael said for soccer, he was like, there's going to be a student section. And he was like, this is his words. He said, I believe that soccer is the next on the list for alcohol sales in the stadium. And so the student section in the new soccer stadium is going to be a big part of that. They're calling that the Cowgirl Corral. There's 800 plus seats, a big, like, inside they have like garage doors that can open up, but big, like, seating area, tables and stuff, have concessions. So the alcohol, I don't know if it'll be baseball. I would think so, but temporary. But the soccer stadium, Coach Carmichael thinks they will have it.
Well, something that's interesting, it sounds like the alcohol sales so far haven't been like a bad deal so far. So it sounds like it could be something that eventually continues and expands. We'll obviously see the extent of that expansion. Little transition there into the soccer. I like that. You talk about the student section. I believe soccer is the best sport, and I'm obviously biased as all get up because I'm a huge soccer fan. Soccer is the best sport to create an atmosphere in, and Cowgirl Soccer does not have the atmosphere that fits what that program is building. What Carmichael's building in that program is special. The NCAA tournament this year, they should be able to compete with the Dukes, and they're going to over the course of time, and now they need the support.
Right.
Getting a great stadium, potentially alcohol sales, we don't know. But these are all incentives to go watch the Cowgirls play, and it's not like it's a bad product that they're putting out on the field.
No, not at all. And he was excited. This is another student emphasis, big student section, want a lot of people to come. He said he wants it to be as rowdy as those international professional games. He was like, let's get drums. I want noisemakers. He wants it to be fun. He wants it to be rowdy, exciting.
With the bad notation that Americans think about it, it's not that bad in terms of support. You watch a Portland Timbers match. They cut a log every single time. Real quick here.
I think it's going to be beautiful. I don't think there is a bad seat in the stadium. Carmichael was saying the benches for the teams will be like international. They'll be back into the stadium, kind of a
dugout sort of
right,
approach.
A dugout sort of approach. Or bleachers, depending on the area. They have 2 suites. So there's some great views for that stadium. It's going to be beautiful.
This is something that a lot of schools should do. Think about making the suites like baseball and soccer is doing, because it's not just football and basketball. A lot of schools just focus on that. So, Brian, thanks for joining us today. We appreciate the insight, and thanks for going and taking some video and some pictures. Obviously, we'll get those videos posted up on our Facebook page or something like that. We're going to take a quick break, talk some MLB baseball. Opening day was yesterday. We'll talk about that. We'll be right back. OSU Student Radio, KXCY. Studio 318, Paul Miller Journalism Building. You're listening to The Border Battle with King and CJ on OSU Student Radio, KXZY. Didn't take long for the Chicago Cubs to get going. One pitch, one run on one hit. Ian Happ takes, I forget how to say his name, Urena, his name was, yard for the Marlins. And the Marlins quickly realized what this season was going to be about. You know, you sell off your top 4 players, and this is what you have to expect.
Honestly, though, like, yes, when we first watched, they scored 3 runs in the first inning, whatever it was. And we're like, oh, yeah, you know, everyone thought when we were watching it, the game's kind of over. But, I mean, it's in a sense, it was 5-4 at one point before the Cubs kind of, again, you know, started hitting home runs and did their stuff. But at first, I was like, wow, the Marlins are actually putting up a fight, which
That's
not to say they won't.
That's easy to do on opening day.
Right. Yeah.
It's going to be less easy to put up a fight when every team is doing this to you for your first 100 games of the season.
Yeah.
When, you know, because their pitching isn't good. Their hitting isn't good. They got a lot of young prospects, fine. Their best player in their organization might be Derek Jeter, and he's not playing anymore. I don't know if that's ridiculous to say that.
Well, and I believe they're saying it on the TV that Doug Mattingly, I think, is the...
Don Mattingly.
Mattingly, thank you. The reason he actually chose Urena for pitching starting is he's hoping that the hype would actually make him pitch well.
Oh.
And he had, 3 hit batters in the first inning?
He was hyped all right.
Yeah, he was a little overhyped.
Yeah, I think he was too. You know, real quick, I wanted to mention this. I wanted to talk about that, obviously, that Cubs game. Real quick, one quote I wanted to get that we lost because of our commercial time there in the first segment was talking about, you know, we had Josh Holliday talking about a nicely manicured baseball field. Something I saw on Twitter, Dave Hunziker, he joined the show a little bit ago to talk about basketball. He said, "There is nothing on earth like a beautiful baseball stadium. There is something about a great ballpark that draws you in and makes you want to go to it every day. We are about to have something of that magnitude." And he's spot on. He's right. It's going to be a great thing to draw people to Cowboy Stadium. I didn't want to let that go because I think that was some great insight from the voice of the Cowboys. But now, keeping going on opening day, there were some surprising results, maybe some big headlines that we saw on opening day. What was the biggest one for you? You had Stanton hit 2 bombs. You had the Braves score 8 straight runs en route to a comeback victory. 6 home runs for the Chicago White Sox. What was the biggest thing for you?
You know, I think the biggest thing for me was actually how Stanton did with the Yankees. I mean, we knew what they were going to be, but to see how they did and everything, I think they're showing. I know it's the first game of the season, but you know, he hits 2 home runs opening day. I think, you know, the Yankees are going to be dangerous. But, you know, real quick, you talked about Ian Happ having an opening, you know, first pitch home run. I know George Springer for the Astros did it the second consecutive year in a row that he has done that. I think one of the only players to ever do that, to go back-to-back opening day home runs.
Yeah, that was interesting. George Springer, the MVP of the World Series. That team is going to be good. I think we were kind of treated to a great opening day for the Houston Astros. 4-1, they beat the Texas Rangers. Justin Verlander, virtually untouchable. Now he gave up some base runners, about 1 per inning, but still not giving up a run in the first outing. Something that was interesting was Clayton Kershaw. The Dodgers have Kershaw on the bump. This is the most unfair 0-1, and I'm salty about it because he's on my fantasy baseball team as well. This is the worst 0-1 in the history of baseball. He loses his first game, goes out and deals, gives up a run, and he gets no support. The Dodgers had 6 hits last night. Kershaw was 2 for 2.
Yeah,
Kershaw was the best out there.
Well,
offensively.
Yeah, well, but you also, like, I get the 0-1 thing. I agree with that, but you also have to give credit where credit is due with Block for the Giants. I mean, he gave up 3 hits, 2 were to Kershaw. And then obviously the relievers gave up, you know, the other 3.
Yeah.
But you know, at the same time, you know, this little known, I mean, I didn't know who the Giants pitcher was until I kind of looked more up on him, but you know,
that's what I mean.
If anything, it's your offense is like, wow. Like,
that's what I mean. Like, you're giving credit to Block, and sure, you give credit to Block because he pitched well, But what you just said there defined the whole thing. Like, that makes up my argument here. Who is Block?
Yeah.
He is not Madison Bumgarner. He's a good pitcher. He's a good pitcher. He's not Bumgarner. He's not Scherzer. He's not Chris Sale. He's not one of these elite pitchers yet. So, Chris Taylor, Corey Seager, Yasiel Puig, Hernandez, Bellinger, Kemp. Seriously?
That's all you can muster was, what, 4 hits?
I mean, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to have. And by the way, the Dodgers have to win. Like, I understand they're a deep pitching staff, but you still got to win when Kershaw's on the bump.
Yeah.
You have to. At the very least, he should get a no decision. It should be up to your bullpen to blow the lead, not you not being able to incapable of putting up 1 run to get him to a no decision.
So is it fair to say that that's kind of was your biggest takeaway besides obviously how we talked the Cubs and Marlins? You know, mine was like the Yankees. Was that kind of your big
the
thing?
biggest storyline?
Yeah.
I didn't think was that. I think the biggest storyline was probably the Astros. I think that was a fun game to watch. A couple games that went to extra innings. My team, the Brewers, my hometown team, the Brewers, and your hometown team, the Minnesota Twins, both went to extra innings. It was flipped around. Your Twins lost to the Orioles on a walk-off, I think, Adam Jones home run. And then the Brewers able to, after 9th inning blown save, able to win it in the 12th, I believe it was, on an Orlando Arcia knock-in, which if you had G-Man Choi scoring the game-winning run, you probably won a lot of money because I don't think that would have been a popular pick as far as making bets. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, and I wasn't surprised to see, like, the thing is with the Twins, they'll go where Fernando Rodney can take them, and that's kind of the hard part of Fernando Rodney. I'm actually really nervous about him being in that position, just because of who he is, and he gave up that home run. But we came back, bottom of the 9th, and we scored 2 with 2 outs. So I'll take that.
There, top of the 9th.
Top of the 9th.
Top
Sorry.
Of the 9th. Yes. Yeah, I thought that was all interesting. By the way, the Brewers' first run, saw it there on the highlight if you're watching on TV. Brewers' first run, Chase Anderson, the pitcher, starting pitcher. So if we're talking about pitchers on offense, you saw how ugly that slide was if you were watching on TV. Just bashed his face on home plate. I thought that was kind of interesting. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Get caught up on what will get you caught up on what we got caught up on. It's Ticker Topics coming up next on OSU Student Radio KXCY.
I'm Gina Noble, and I'm the mayor of Stillwater, Oklahoma.
Will that help you?
Stillwater, Oklahoma is anything but still. We are a vibrant community, and we are conveniently located near Oklahoma City, Tulsa, and Wichita, Kansas. We're the home of the Oklahoma State Cowboys, and we serve as the cultural, economic, and athletic hub for North Central Oklahoma. In fact, several Quality of Life magazines have recognized Stillwater as one of the nation's 100 top places to live and one of the best places to golf. Established in the land run in 1889, Stillwater is a safe, vibrant community. It boasts a great educational system from K through 12, all the way up to our world-class university, Oklahoma State University. We have an exceptional downtown with a strong entrepreneurial spirit, numerous city parks and trails, and our medical resources are second to none. Stillwater is a wonderful place to begin your career, to start a business, to raise a family, or to retire. We invite you to visit Stillwater because we are anything but still.
Think you're not involved in your community? Think again. Spending your money with local businesses is more than an economic choice. It's a way you can have a say in the look and feel of your hometown. This spring, I invite you to shop in downtown Stillwater. Downtown Stillwater is home to locally owned shops, boutiques, eateries, and dependable professionals that you can trust. Find the perfect gift for your graduate, have a delicious meal with mom, or just stop in to enjoy great spring savings. By creating a demand for local goods and services, you can ensure a place for the local businesses that help give our community character and keep it unique. On behalf of Downtown Stillwater, thank you for shopping local.
In here in the Paul Miller Journalism Building, you're listening to The Border Battle with King and CJ on OSU Student Radio KXZY, Suddenlink Channel 112, YouTube Live Border Battle on Demand, Facebook.com/Border Battle Show, OSU Student Radio KXZY. Chris, let's talk ticker topics. This is one of my favorite segments of the week. We kind of get caught up on some stories that, one of these stories, actually, a couple of these stories we had in our Wednesday show, and then super thankful that Mike Boynton was willing to stick around for a second segment, and we didn't get to talk about Chris Mack and my guy, LiAngelo Ball. So we'll talk about LiAngelo Ball in just a second, get your thoughts on him. Chris Mack, first of all, he leaves Xavier to go to Louisville. I thought this was a little surprising because he had Xavier on a pretty good trajectory. 1 seed this year, obviously, losing to Florida State, kind of a bigger upset there, but as far not the biggest upset we saw. He had Xavier on the right track, and now he leaves for a Louisville program that has a bunch of stuff surrounding it.
You know, that's true, but it's kind of like what he had said, you know, in his, I think he put it on Twitter or something like that, his thank you letter to, his alma mater being Xavier and everything. But, I think if anything, especially if he's a coach that likes challenges, which I think he is, I think that's also what makes Louisville enticing, is the fact that, there is so many unquestioned, unanswered questions, so to speak. And I don't know. I was about to say, Louisville probably has a little better pull with recruiting, but now that's probably not the case because of the whole.
It still
will. It'll be bigger than Xavier. That's a fair point. I think.
I'm not sure.
I mean, he's a great coach. Yeah, you're 215 and 97 with Xavier. I mean, it's a good coaching record.
Now, it is surprising that he leaves his alma mater. Louisville is going to be better than recruiting than Xavier with Chris Mack. If it's Chris Mack still at Xavier, I don't think Louisville's that much of a better recruiting hub right now with everything surrounding their program. It'll still be a recruiting hotspot, but Xavier, look, it's not like they were devoid of talent on their team. They're a 1 seed, and it's not like they overachieved the entire year. This was a team that was supposed to be a Big East title contender, and then they go and win it.
So then let me ask you this. With, Chris Mack, like you said, with him going to Louisville, that'll help, with recruiting. Does that now hurt Xavier?
Yeah, it does. Absolutely. What pulls do you have to go to Xavier besides if you have a great coach that has the program on a right trajectory? What other pull does Xavier have?
Well, I just didn't know. I don't know who his assistants were, or if they all said whatnot. But if he's getting, one of Chris Mack's assistants is also now going to be taking coaching reins potentially, obviously we don't know that yet. Does that help? Maybe he's the next person in line, could be an alma mater. Yeah, he doesn't have the pedigree, let's say Chris Mack maybe does, but, you balance that is that going to work?
Let me compare this to Wisconsin for just 1 second here. When Bo Ryan leaves, no, because you make a point.
When he leaves or when he left?
When Bo Ryan leaves behind Greg Gard.
Okay.
I'm speaking it's the past perfect tense, Chris, okay? For goodness sakes. No, because you make a point here that I don't think is fair to make, okay? Because you make a point about a potential assistant coach. Here's the difference. When you leave behind Greg Gard, the reason they retained recruits was not entirely because of Greg Gard. The reason that they retained recruits was because Wisconsin is a top United States academic institution, top public institution in the world, top research institution in the world. There are draws other than a good basketball coach. Bo Ryan was he the biggest draw? Yes, for basketball players, but there was other things. What else do you have to look at Xavier? I think it's a pretty solid academic school, but Xavier football team, crickets. Wisconsin's got good football. Like, there are other reasons to go to Wisconsin. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, there are other ways.
There's more options.
Right. There's different pulls to go to Wisconsin. Whereas here, is it really all about an assistant coach? Like, my point is, Greg Gard was not the reason that he retained recruits. The reason was because of Wisconsin and the tradition that Bo Ryan had built. I don't think that same tradition is going to stick around at Xavier because Bo Ryan didn't also leave for another program. He retired.
Right. No, and my main saying with that was more to say not so much that the system would have power for recruiting, more of if he's more of the alma mater trying to keep within the bloodline, so to speak.
Yeah, and I understand that as well. So let's talk about LiAngelo Ball. LiAngelo Ball, I am a big fan of the Ball family. And LiAngelo Ball declares for the NBA draft and then drops 72 points. I don't care who it's against. That's a lot of points. Apparently, it was some people are haters, as you might call them, as LeVar would probably call them, say that it was against like high school competition. I don't care. 72 points is 72 points. Is he going to get drafted?
He might get drafted, but he's going to be bad. I do not, out of the three brothers, I do not see LiAngelo Ball having a long career. If any, maybe a bench warmer, maybe around the bench unless Pops can get him. Who knows? Maybe LeVar's going to buy a team and bring something in and have his...
Okay. Let's pump the brakes there, Chris. Big Baller Brand is a successful organization. It is not a multi-billion-dollar organization that he can sell and then buy an NBA team.
Doesn't mean he won't try and partner up with someone, though.
Well, no, but he's not going to be the majority owner in that case.
So you like LiAngelo Ball... Out of the other three, or was that more of you just trying to poke fun?
That is part of the tease, Chris. The art of the tease. No, I'm just kidding. I think LiAngelo Ball is underrated. I think now we're going to be able to see because he was recruited to UCLA, and whether you want to say that's just Lonzo Ball's, the residual of Lonzo Ball being a great player there and making them relevant again, because since Russell Westbrook and Kevin Love, that program wasn't relevant. We're talking about a university in Los Angeles not being relevant in the sport of basketball. Yeah. John Wooden, his program. So I think LiAngelo, I think people are underrating him. I do. And I think it's his own fault that he didn't play at UCLA. If he doesn't have the problems over in China, he probably plays for UCLA. So I think that all you have to consider as well. But I think he's underrated. I don't think he's going to be a star in the league. I don't think he's going to get drafted.
So do you think he'll maybe an undrafted that maybe signs with the team, maybe practices, gets invited to come kind of try out and then sign that way? Or do you think he's going to be more of just stuck overseas?
No, he's not going to be stuck overseas. He is going to be relegated to a D-League career until someone gives him a chance with a 10-day contract. I think that is what LiAngelo Ball is going to be resigned to. He's going to have one or two chances on a 10-day contract to make a splash in the NBA. If he can't make that splash, he's done.
So then is it fair to say that LaMelo is overrated?
LaMelo? No. LaMelo's not overrated. He's gonna play in the NBA.
So, but you wouldn't say he's underrated, right? Like he's probably rated right where he needs to be.
He was one of the top recruits in his class. LaMelo Ball was. So LaMelo Ball is different than LiAngelo. But here's what I'm saying: their drop off between Melo, Jello, and Zoe. That's always what LeVar talks about. Melo, Jello, and Zoe. The drop off from Zoe and Melo to Jello is not that big. I don't think it's that big. I think people are overrating it. But that could just be me. All right, let's talk about Naismith Hall of Fame. You want to talk about this a little bit. Tell us who's in now, Chris.
Yeah, I was super stoked. You have Jason Kidd, Grant Hill, Steve Nash, Tina Thompson, and Maurice Cheeks. Super excited. I mean, Grant Hill, probably I was reading an article. They're like he could have gotten nominated just off his college career alone. 2 championships. Well known for the pass to Christian Laettner, 3-quarter pass that
broke Kentucky fans' hearts forever.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's great to kind of see that.
That was Kentucky, right? Christian Laettner's shot.
I believe it was Kentucky.
I'm pretty sure it was Kentucky. Steve Nash, one of my favorite point guards to ever play the game. Jason Kidd, obviously not in for his coaching job. He just got fired by the Bucks, but obviously one of the greatest point guards that the game has seen. I mean, you talk about a guy that came in almost like this. I know this comparison's been made before, almost like Lonzo Ball. Wasn't a great shooter when he came in, developed a shot, and was able to be effective. But as far as who I'm most excited about in that group, it's Steve Nash. I think he's going to be great, by the way, doing some soccer commentating for Turner Sports coming up here. So I'm excited for that as well. But I think you're right, Grant Hill. I mean, he was going to get in, right? So I don't think there was any shocks on this list. Any for you?
No.
So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're talking NCAA Final Four, give you our picks, even though we picked all of our Final Four teams wrong in our bracket. King, CJ, KXZY.
What is arts and sciences?
We aren't all about the arts.
We like to think of ourselves as explorers.
From exploring the human mind
to discerning the building blocks of the universe.
We don't just read books.
We don't just sit in the classroom.
And we don't just solve problems. We seek to give everyone a voice.
In a variety of approaches.
We tackle the big issues.
By understanding complex social structures.
And even understand the small ones.
We take passions to new heights.
But stay grounded.
We tell stories.
Of the past.
Of the present.
And work to predict the future.
We like to think with a little preparation. Some dirt under the fingernails.
And some self-analysis.
You can do anything.
With nearly 100 degree plans to choose from.
Where will your arts and science degree take you?
Connect, achieve, succeed.
To our neighbors and friends, we come to you today to let you know what's on our hearts. Because you're the reason what we do is so much more meaningful than a job. The reason we believe in the power of investing in tomorrow and the power of community. So this is simply thank you. As we step boldly into a time of growth and change, consider this our promise that every investment in our hospital is an investment in our communities.
This spring, I invite you to shop in downtown Stillwater. Downtown Stillwater is home to locally owned shops, boutiques, eateries, and dependable professionals that you can trust. Find the perfect gift for your graduate, have a delicious meal with mom, or just stop in to enjoy great spring savings. By creating a demand for local goods and services, you can ensure a place for the local businesses that help give our community character and keep it unique. On behalf of Downtown Stillwater, thank you for shopping local.
Hi, Luke with the 3. Kansas to the championship game. That was obviously from the Big 12 tournament against West Virginia. Welcome back in, Studio 318. Border Battle with King and CJ. I'm King East CJ. Suddenlink Channel 112. YouTube Live Border Battle on demand. Facebook.com/Border Battle Show. And OSU Student Radio KXZY. Chris, it's the Final Four. How excited are you?
I'd be more excited if my teams are still in there, but
this is like the least hyped Final Four I think I can ever remember.
And I think a lot of it's because no one has a team left.
Well,
like that's part of it. I honestly I think there's more hype on the South and Midwest? Is that what's on the right side? The right side of the bracket, the Nova, Kansas. I think that's got more hype.
Which is interesting because normally you get a Cinderella and everyone jumps on board. Now, I think when we see the face of Sister Jean, I think we'll all get real hyped again for Loyola. Obviously, the greatest story of this tournament. She is, and great honor. I mean, she gave the university permission to license her name, and she doesn't want a dime of it. She is the model person for everyone to kind of be about. And by the way, she knows a thing or two about basketball, and pretty good as far as PR goes.
Yeah, yeah, it was crazy too when we had someone in our class actually yesterday when they brought up the whole Sister Jean stuff and all the kind of shirts and all that stuff that they're doing now with, like you said, with her permission and the bobbleheads and
she is great. A great story. Definitely needed her in the Final Four. Obviously, I don't know anyone in their right mind who could complain about her.
I will say though, I think the reason with the hype for potentially the Michigan Loyola, I think people are more thinking, okay, Michigan, like, don't get me wrong, Loyola, I think is going to put up a good fight. I think people, though, in their minds thinking, okay, Michigan might have a cakewalk here. It's hard to say. There's been 3 other teams, 11 seeds that have gotten to the Final Four, LSU, George Mason, and VCU being the most recent in 2011. So it's...
What were those, pardon me?
LSU.
I mean, what seeds?
They're 11s.
Oh, 11s. Okay,
11 seeds. No, you're good. And so none of them, they've made it to the Final Four. No one's gotten past that. They've either gotten blown out or they've been fatigued because this type of stuff they're not used to. They're up 24/7 now. Everyone wants to do interviews or, the spotlight that, one of these smaller, schools isn't used to getting so much, the national spotlight.
Doug Gottlieb talked about this. This school does not have a local radio network.
Really?
Does not have a local radio network. This is what taking Professor Hunziker, this is what taking his classes built me for. I'm going to go build a radio network for Loyola Chicago, and my color commentator is going to be Sister Jean.
Hey, wouldn't that
She
be
knows
something?
enough about it. She knows enough about it. This is what I've been building towards. I found my niche.
Yeah, it finally showed. This is where you're headed.
But Loyola, no, I think Loyola has a decent shot here in this game because I think when you look at Michigan, I said this when we talked on Monday about the Elite Eight games, when you look at Michigan playing against Florida State, they were able to kind of sit back and kind of defend in that way because Florida State doesn't have a three-point shooter, and they aren't a three-point shooting team overall. Loyola Chicago is. They're going to spread you 5 wide. So I think it's going to create some matchup nightmares that Michigan likes to create. My dad coached me back in grade school basketball, and his phrase used to be, the thing that scares you the most is what you do best. And what he meant by that was we were about to go into a tournament in our basketball team, and we were a great pressing team. But we were going to be playing a great pressing team, and we had never faced a press. And he's like, you guys are great at pressing, but can you handle the press? Well, it turns out we couldn't. We got blown out. Here's the thing. Michigan likes to create matchup problems on the perimeter. They're going to get a taste of their own medicine here, and I'm going to be interested to see how they handle it because in the Big Ten, usually it's Wisconsin with the team with the outside big shooters, the Wagners of the world, the Kaminsky's of the world. They didn't have that this year. Ethan Happ couldn't stretch the floor, and that's part of the reason they sucked.
So I want to real ask you, I guess, a little bit.
Please.
When you talked basketball and your dad coaching you,
yeah,
was that kind of the start of your getting riled up, maybe getting kicked out of games career? Is that kind of when that all started because of that game? And you were like, I'm done.
Absolutely nothing to do with my father, although
he was your coach. That's what I was bringing.
Although he got technicals too, but no My temper issues were my own problem. My technical issues are my own problem. So yes, but no, that was not the game that happened to set me off. We just played like crap.
Oh, fair enough. Also, with Michigan, do you think it's a fair assumption that they are or are not taking Loyola serious?
They are going to, I think, because John Beilein is going to be a future Hall of Fame coach. And I think you're going to see Michigan take them seriously. I think you're going to see Michigan come out and play a really good game of basketball. Because when we're looking at coaches that are good at preparing their teams, John Beilein is up there with the best of them, I think is fair to say. But, I mean, what do you think is a key factor for this game?
For either side?
Either side, you just pick it.
I think it's kind of like you talked about with Michigan now getting taste of their own medicine. It's going to be a chess match. And I think in the end, who's going to make that right move in the end. I think it's going to come down, maybe the last few minutes of the game. That's what I think. Just because, like you said, I think Loyola Chicago has, their coach has done a phenomenal job. I think keeping them in the amount of preparation that they do. Those photos that you see in their locker rooms, and they have the players, the plays, everything. Their walls are plastered with notes and breakdowns, and I don't know. I'm still rooting for Loyola Chicago. My bracket's already gone anyways, but it's that feel good story. I mean, I love Michigan's there. It's a Big Ten school, but
I don't.
I think I've got Loyola Chicago winning it, maybe on another buzzer beater.
Interesting. That would be a nuts game. I don't know if I would pick Loyola to win this. I think they're going to give Michigan some problems. This is going to be a close game. The betting line is Michigan -5.5. I think I would take Loyola in that situation. I think Loyola, if they lose, they're going to keep it close. It's going to come down to, is Moritz Wagner figuring out his shooting? Because he didn't shoot well against Florida State. They only scored like 56 points in that win. You score 56 points against Loyola, you're going home. And there's a reasonable chance that they could do that because Loyola is a good defensive team as well. So I think all of that into account, I'm still going to go Michigan. But by the way, I love Big Ten teams representing, except for Michigan basketball.
Why?
I hate Michigan basketball, much like I hate Penn State football. I don't know what it is. I don't like it. I don't like Moritz Wagner. Can't stand him. And I like John Beilein. I'm a huge John Beilein fan. I just cannot stand Michigan. I don't know what it is about him.
So it's a player. It's like if there's a player you don't like, you hate.
No. And this is, don't get me wrong. Moritz Wagner is not like Grayson Allen for me.
Okay.
Like
that's what I was getting at.
I don't like Moritz Wagner, but he's like, it's not like I hate the guy.
You respect him in a sense.
Right, absolutely. And you have to respect your opponents, the good ones, and he's obviously a good player. Probably has some sort of role in the NBA. I'm not sure what that role is, but I would think he does have that role. All right, let's get to the other side. 7:49. I think this is kind of funny. 7:49 p.m. Central Time on TBS tomorrow. Probably end up getting pushed back, but depending on how long that Loyola Michigan game goes. Devontae Graham up for the Naismith Player of the Year. Jalen Brunson up for the same award for Villanova and has already won the Associated Press Player of the Year award. Jalen Brunson, Devontae Graham, that's obviously the matchup everyone's going to be watching. Give me an X factor for both teams.
Well, I mean, you said right there, Brunson's a great player, Graham's a good player.
No.
You see it right here.
Wrong.
I honestly,
you can't say that. How can you say one's a great player and one's a good player? They're both up for the same award, the best player in the country.
I think Brunson's way more dangerous than Graham is.
A good player does not get nominated for the best player in the country.
Hey,
period.
He does in my book.
Well, then support it. How is Devontae Graham a good player and not a great one? Support it now.
I just don't think he's got all the intangibles to be a great superstar player in college.
Do you have a statistic that backs this up?
Do I know?
Okay.
I don't.
I just want to make sure. Give me an X factor other than those two names.
Well,
for each team.
For Kansas, part of it's how Azubuike does, stays out of foul trouble. That's going to be a big thing. But I think it's Mikhailuk. Honestly, as long as his 3-point, he struggled against Duke in the Elite Eight game. So he hit the clutch one to go into overtime. But I'd say Mikhailuk, and then I don't know, Nova. The thing with Nova, to me, honestly, and this is probably going to sound really bad, but I think it's Nova's game to lose. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think Kansas is a phenomenal team. No, I'm not discrediting Bill Self or anything like that. But I don't know, the way Villanova's been playing right now, I don't know. I just think Villanova is going to overpower Kansas.
Okay. The X factor, I'm going to start off with my own question. The X factor for Kansas, I believe, is Malik Newman. He has to continue to play the way he's played in all of March. I don't think Kansas beats Oklahoma State in the second round of the Big 12 tournament if Malik Newman doesn't turn it on. I don't think Kansas beats Seton Hall unless Malik Newman plays the way he does. I don't think they beat Clemson. I don't think they beat, especially not Duke, without Malik Newman, and they aren't going to beat Villanova without him. They need Malik Newman to continue to play well. Obviously, Svi Mikhailuk has to make the plays that he makes, but I think if you're thinking in X factor, I'm thinking of someone that's not on that top couple lines. He's that guy. Now, it's easy to say Mikal Bridges for Villanova. He's also up for a Naismith, or he was named a Naismith All-American, Mikal Bridges from Villanova. Dante DiVincenzo. I've been practicing saying that all morning, and I still screwed it up. Dante DiVincenzo, sophomore, 6'5" guard. He got a couple monster offensive rebounds against Texas Tech. And we talked about it. If they didn't get the offensive rebounds they got against Texas Tech, that game would have been closer, and they might have lost it. So everyone's talking about how great Villanova's playing right now. They could have lost to the second best team in the Big 12, and now they're playing the best team in the Big 12. Now here's the thing. Kansas, I believe, is going to win this game. Why? Because, and here's something that is interesting for our argument. You've been underselling Bill Self all year. You've been underselling Devontae Graham all year. You've been underselling the entire Kansas team all season long because going into the final game of the year, when Oklahoma State beat Kansas at Oklahoma State here at GIA, what did you say to me, Chris? You said this team was not a very good team. You said they were a good team, not a great team. You said they didn't even deserve a 1 seed.
Yeah, but again, this isn't me saying that Bill Self. I'm not going after Bill Self.
Well, you undersold the team.
So, no, but what you're saying is because I'm going after these players, then I'm thus going after Bill Self?
No, I'm just saying. I said Bill Self changes it up in the tournament, and you said he's not going to be able to do it with this team. He did. Now here's the thing, though. I don't understand where your hatred for Devontae Graham comes.
I don't even know if I really know. I just don't like Devontae Graham. Don't you ever have that where there's one person you just don't care for?
Okay, but here's the thing. So I admitted it about Mo Wagner. I don't like him, right?
Right.
I still think he is a great player. Why? Like, I guess I'm trying to get to the root of where you think Devontae Graham falls short as a player.
I just
because I think as far as weaknesses go, he has very few of them, including being a pretty good leader.
Yeah, I don't know. And to me, I guess I see more of like Azubuike as the bigger I don't know. I'm looking more of, in a sense, who's like, yes, your point guard is what you need, in basketball. You rely on them. They got to bring it up, playmaker, all that. But to me, Azubuike is what also helps make the team run. Newman, you could go any of those guys.
But Azubuike hasn't even played that well this tournament.
Right, and he hasn't, and Newman's come through. So, in a sense, you could say Newman, but I just consider him a great I almost said it. He's a good player. I almost went against it.
I don't know, man. I don't know. We will see at the end of the tournament. Best of luck to all 4 teams competing this weekend. Thanks so much for joining us on a Friday. We got to get out of here. We will be back Monday, break down the Final Four, have the latest headlines from Oklahoma State here on campus. You're listening to The Border Battle with King and CJ. Thank you so much on KXZY.